Promote drag queens? I can't speak for the rest of your critics, and there are many. I don't promote drag queens, Matt. I'm not a promoter. I'm not a publicist. I'm not their agent. I simply defend their right to perform. I defend their right to exist. And that's it. I'm not promoting them. Matt Powell is one of the more vile human beings on the face of the earth. And he needs to be either exposed or shut down. I recorded that last year, Matt, and I stand by it. I think you know why. Whether you agree with it or not, I don't really care. What drag queens are doing is diversity of thought. It's teaching children that they can have diverse thoughts and opinions. They can see diversity in society. They can learn to accept it. They can learn to understand it. And that's what these Drag Time Story Hours are about. It's about getting children to understand that there are other things in this world. There's nothing wrong with that. And I stand by that too. But thanks for using my videos. I'm getting a lot of exposure here. Hello everyone, welcome back to The Simple Skeptic. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Hit that like or unlike button. I can't tell you what to do. Just enjoy yourselves, even though we're taking on Matt Powell again. And just in case anybody's curious about the background changing a bit behind me, it's because my studio is also my hobby room where I visit various indignities upon model aircraft. And I've got a new spray booth behind me there. Anyway, let's see what Matt's got to say this time.
And some people will criticize videos like this, and they'll say, well, Matt, how could you shelter your kids? Don't you want them to learn about the world? Well, if a wolf attacked my child, I would defend my child.
No, Matt, you would probably crap your pants. And wolves aren't that dangerous. The recorded history of wolf attacks on humans, at least attacks by healthy wolves, are minuscule. They usually won't bother you. They'll try to get away from you. Don't worry about it.
If a bear came out of the woods that we live in and attacked my family, I would shelter my family the best that I could.
Now that goes double for bears, Matt. They are really not a problem at all. They will probably smell you long before you hear them or see them. Or they will hear you long before you see them or hear them. And they will be gone. Bears don't want to be around humans. They've learned to fear us. And they run like hell. Yeah, you really ought to get out more, Matt.
Well, they tell kids there's more than two genders. They invite drag queens to come and put on their little shows, their little performances in front of the little ones. Are you going to just sit there and let your son or daughter take in all of that disgusting filth?
Disgusting filth? They're wearing women's clothing. They're wearing makeup. They're reading stories to children. How is that disgusting filth? I'll tell you what disgusting filth is, Matt. I'll wag my finger at you. Disgusting filth is wanting to execute people because they're not straight. That's what you want to do. Let's just show this clip from Skylar Fiction again.
But now, did you used to mention something? You don't believe that gay people should be stoned to death, do you?
Well, I believe the Bible puts a death penalty on it. Obviously not by me or by anybody, you know, in our regular society. Obviously, I believe it's the government's job to execute criminals. And, you know, I believe that the Bible says clearly that homosexuality is a criminal crime. It's a crime. It's one of the worst crimes ever.
I mean, it's good that we're not a theocracy, right? Because we're not a theocracy in this country. So you don't believe our government should be able to dictate that we stone gay. Is that what you're advocating for? Is that our government should stone gays to death?
I don't, by whatever means they execute people. And obviously I believe in humane, you know, putting to death.
I think that's a contradiction. You know, what you're saying, humane, you can't use the word humane and then say you're going to kill people who are gay.
Or are you going to step up and be a hero to your child and shield them from propaganda?
Be a hero to your child by preventing them from having some fun listening to a story. A lot of these kids that go there are so young, they probably don't even realize that it's a man dressed up as a woman. They don't care. They're having fun. They're listening to a story. They're learning. They're not being preached to. It's not propaganda. It's simply allowing children to learn about the world around them and learn acceptance and learn that some people are different. Not everybody wears a suit and a tie and perfectly coiffed hair. You just don't get life, do you, Matt? All your knowledge about life comes from one book. A book that's never been proven to be true.
From misinformation about gender.
There is no misinformation about gender. As I've tried explaining to you many times, and other people have tried to explain to you, gender exists on a spectrum. If you can't accept that, well, you're going against every bit of science there is. You claim science is on your side. It isn't. The only thing on your side is dogmatic religious beliefs. And they're wrong.
And about their existence. I grew up on a farm.
You grew up on a farm. What pen were you in? Okay, that was a cheap shot, but I have such little respect for you, Matt, that I'm going to go there.
And I learned extremely fast that there's only male and female.
Only male and female. Matt, I'm going to ask you this question in all seriousness. What about intersex people? What about people who were born with both genitals? Both with a penis and a vagina? Sometimes fully functioning. What about those people, Matt? You may know them as hermaphrodites, but the accepted term now is intersex. They exist, not just in humans, but in other animals. Being around a farm, you might have encountered some. I don't know. But what about them? Are they not human? They're not straight, according to you. What would you do with them? I really want to know.
Because we were taking care of cattle, taking care of horses, taking care of chickens, and helping these animals to be able to have offspring.
Helping them to have offspring. That usually comes naturally, Matt. Now, there are many cases in animal husbandry where you use artificial insemination, but quite often it's instinctive. And sometimes, I don't want to scare you, Matt, but sometimes animals are attracted to the same sex. Yeah. In some species of waterfowl, it's almost rampant. You wonder how they manage to breed and carry on the lineage. But yeah, it's happening, Matt.
And I'm telling you, when you see God's creation, you're not going to be convinced that a man could turn into an animal.
Turn into an animal? We don't need to. We are animals. The first animals evolved 700-800 million years ago. Sponges are among the first animals. Sponges absorb a lot of water. You could try absorbing some knowledge.
Or that gender is not binary.
Matt, gender is not binary. Gender is not determined by sex. Gender is not determined by genetics. Gender is determined by biochemistry. You could present as a hairy, big man, and your biochemistry could say you're a woman. It's variable. That's one of the problems we have, is that biochemistry is imprecise. It's one of the reasons things evolve. Although you have trouble even spelling that word, let alone understanding it.
Of course it's binary. That's how reproduction even works.
Again with this crap. No. Yes, a male and a female are required to reproduce. But it doesn't mean that anyone who identifies differently, feels differently, is not human. Homo sapiens. Matt, here's a challenge to you, okay? You go around and you take some DNA swabs from people, volunteers, and I defy you, under any circumstances, I defy you to process those DNA tests and tell me who is gay, who is straight, who is trans, who is just non-binary. I defy you, Matt. I defy you to do that.
People always say, oh, homeschooling, it's going to make my kids weird. Well, at least they're not going to think that men can get pregnant.
They're probably not going to learn to think at all.
Very impressionable. and you could hurt them. And in the school system, the stuff they're telling the kids, it is hurting them.
No, it isn't hurting them. That's simply an opinion of yours, and you are so wrong. Well, it doesn't even need explanation. They are learning about life. They are learning about reality. You live in a fantasy world, and you want everybody else to live in that fantasy world. Sorry, Matt. Some of us are just not going to do it.
That's why they're turning out the way that they turn out. I saw a guy just the other day, he thought he was a wolf.
You saw a guy the other day who thought he was a wolf. I'll take things that never happened for 1,000, please, Alex.
I saw a girl a few weeks ago, thought that she was a fish.
Alex, can we up that to 1 million?
The public school system of Nazi Germany.
Mr. Godwin, are you around here somewhere? Mr. Godwin?
Corrupted so many youth, and it made them feel like they were really it. They were the generation that was going to set everything straight.
Oh man, the irony here is explosive. Corrupted youth. I'll tell you how it wasn't corrupting them, Matt. It wasn't corrupting them by telling them that gay people were acceptable. In fact, they were killing them. The same way you want to do. You're trying to say that Nazi Germany was bad, and yet you want to do what they were doing. Matt, do you even listen to yourself? Wow.
And they ultimately turned into terrorists. A lot of people in the Nazi army killed Jews, they killed Christians, they killed all sorts of people during the Holocaust.
They killed transgender people. They killed gays. Yeah, they killed anyone who wasn't straight, particularly if that person wasn't straight, white, and fitting into the Aryan Ubermensch ideal. You really want to follow that? Because that's where you're going, Matt. You're trying to deny it. But you are following their path. You're following their example. And you're trying to say that you're not. You just, you really are a seething, roiling mass of confusion.
And they thought that they were a superior race because they were being taught Darwinian evolution.
Where to begin? I'm not even going to bother. You don't understand anything about evolution. You don't understand anything about the way people twist evolution. You don't even understand the way you twist evolution. You don't even know what you're doing. It's hopeless talking to you about evolution, Matt. It's hopeless talking to you about almost anything. You don't want to understand. All your information comes from one single book. And that's the way you want it. And you want everybody else to live that way. He thinks that by hating homosexuality, that he's showing them Christian love. He's trying to bring them around to the proper way of thinking. I stand by that statement as well. And you have done absolutely nothing in the intervening months to make me change my mind. In fact, you have solidified my opinion of you.
Now he has a picture of a wolf, a literal wolf with makeup on. The caption reads, "I just want to read some books to your chickens." That's a jab at Drag Queen Story Hour. There are no real numbers to make you afraid of drag queens.
I applaud and second the gentleman's comments.
And I think that Matt Powell has really been emboldened. He is more direct in his bigotry. YouTube needs to ban his channel.
I endorse the sentiment.
And don't be offended, don't be upset when somebody says, "You're bigoted." Because the real bigots are the ones who are cowering down and not saying anything.
No, the real bigots are people like you, and you are proud of it. Like the rest of them.
These drag queens that come into schools, they're trying to spew their own filth onto little children.
Matt, they are not actively teaching them anything. They are simply there. And children are learning that they exist. And they're learning that they are not people to be afraid of. You are the one who is indoctrinating children. You have their parents drag them into your church. And you teach them to hate people. Because you think that hate is love.
They get a thrill, just like pedophiles do, about corrupting the minds of children. They are absolutely after the kids. That's not a conspiracy theory.
It's not a conspiracy, and it's not even a theory. It's not even a hypothesis. It's a wild-ass idea cooked up in your warped mind. A mind that has been corrupted and perverted by your religious beliefs. Hate is love to Matt. Matt, let me say something to you. From the bottom of my heart, I hate you. Yes, Matt, I hate you. And it's a genuine hate. Because you want to execute people I know, people I care about. You want to execute people simply because they are not sexually cisgender, straight. You want to execute people just because they're slightly different and through no fault of their own, just through a quirk of biochemistry. My hate for you, Matt, is genuine. I don't cloak it behind love. I'm not going to say that I'm going to show you love by hating you. I'm not going to say that I'm going to pull you towards the right side by hating you. No, I just hate you. And I'm unashamed.
But I guess it just kind of speaks to the kind of person Matt Powell actually is. Why anyone shares a stage with an idiot like that, I've got no, I know, there's an entertainment value, but he is a mess. Scientifically speaking, he's got little to no credentials.
My wife actually purchased me this plaque, and it says, "A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor." Sometimes it might be hard to pull your kids out of a public school system or to have these conversations with them, but you've got to keep in mind there are weirdos that try to have these conversations with your kids and fill them with lies. They want to brainwash your children.
I agree, totally. You find them in churches.
When people say, "Oh, don't shelter your kids. Don't worry about them." When they say to take the walls of protection down and just let people wreak havoc with your children, that should be a red flag to you. And you should not listen to them because those people are just as delusional as the transgender advocates that we see all over the streets of America now.
I could have broken that down, but I'll go back to the old phrase that says, better to keep your mouth shut and have people think you're an idiot than open it and remove all doubt. I let you open it, Matt, and I hope it's removed all doubt. And I still hate you. Now let's end this video the way I usually do. I'm going to put up a little slide of an idiotic statement from a creationist or some other sort of nutcase, conspiracy theorist, whatever. And you can just have a laugh. Talk about it. Comment on it in the comment section below if you wish. But have a nice day, folks.